Hi guys and welcome to another video. So in today's video we're gonna be talking about while loops. So before starting, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications bell. So let's get started. So first of all, in the last video we saw for loops. So the main difference between for loops and while loops is that in for loops, like, we define a number of times, like indirectly by like using the range function or something like that. I mean, like, there's a specific number of times that this for loop will run. But in while loops, in the other hand, I'll show you the syntax for this. We use while condition, sorry, and then statement here. So what I mean by condition is the thing that we saw in the second video, I think. Yeah, the conditions, like, it may be something like 5 is less than 6, 6 is equal to 5, like 5 is not, no, sorry, is not equal to 5, or something like that. We saw that in the second video, I think, yeah. So if this condition is true, then the statement will run, and because of it is a loop that will like repeat every time while the condition is true. Now, to give you an example about the difference between for and while, think of a man doing some push-ups. Now, for the for loop, we can say like do 55 push-ups, but in the while condition, in the while loop, we can say like the condition is when the man get tired. So we say while the man is not tired, do push-ups. I hope you understand what I mean. Alright, so that was the syntax for while loop. So let's do a simple example. So let's name a variable, declare a variable, let's name it num. Let's set it to 1. Then let's do a limit variable, let's set it for now to 5. Alright, so in our condition will be while num is less than or equal limit, and then in each iteration, in each repetition, we're gonna print this num. Alright, now if you see it here, like for the first iteration, num is 1. Alright, so the condition is true because 1 is less than or equal 5. Then we will print num in the console, we will print 1. And then the second iteration, because the while loop is repeating each time, so now in the second time, num will not increase, not like for loops it will increase by itself, but in the while loop it will like stay the same unless we change it ourselves. So it will be num. Another time 1 is less than 5, then it will print it again and again and again, and here we will get an infinite and here we'll get an infinity loop. So let's try this one and run it. Like you see, it's an infinite loop. It will always print 1 to the console. To interrupt it, you just gotta use the Ctrl plus C. Right. So as I said, we have to do. So to avoid this infinity loop, we have to do like increase the number or variable number. So let's do number num is equal to num plus 1. So what this is gonna do is just like take num and reassign it with the actual value of num, which is here 1, and add 1 to it. So in this case it will be 2, and then the third time it will be 3, and like that. So let's try it one more time, and here we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a basic thing. We have already done something like this in the last video, attempt number 1. Let's try to do this one. Let's do here attempt, no, without space, comma. Let's keep it for num because we have already one. We don't have to increase it, num plus one. And then what we'll do is yeah, the num multiplied by the dots. Save the file. One more time. Right, and here what we get. Attempt 1, attempt 2, and that's pretty basic and beautiful. Now let's try to increase this limit to 10. Right, one more time. Right, that's pretty cool. Right, cool. Now let's do something that we have already done in the last video. So, do you remember the exercise from the last video? The print just even numbers between 1 and 10. So let's do it again using the while loop, right? So we're just going to delete this statement and keep while when num is less than or equal limit. We're gonna check if this number is even or not. So for that we're gonna just do if num modulus 2 is equal 0, then what? Then we're gonna print to the console, print num, and maybe add a count variable here, set to 0. Remember that from the last video. So and increase count. We can do this one instead of the one that we did before, is equal to count plus 1, right? So and then we're going to increase num, because in other ways we have to increase the number 1. So let's keep it at the end. Right, let's increase it here, plus equals 1. Alright, and at the end, the very end here, let's just print let's do it from a string. You remember that's from the last video. And let's do there are count even numbers. So what this means is just going to replace this count by its value. So for example, if count is 2, it will say there are 2 even numbers, and like that. Let's save the file. Run it. And here we are. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. There are 5 even numbers. Right, cool. Let's try one more time to do the odd numbers. Right, so we're gonna do it with a different method, like to implement break and continue in our code. Right, so first of all, break, what does that mean is the break statement just going to stop the loop from repeating, and it will exit the loop immediately. But the continue, the keyword continue, it will just like stop this iteration and then complete the other iterations after it. I hope you mean what that mean. Alright, so I hope you get, guys. So I'm gonna implement this in my code. So if we have this something which is an even number, we're not gonna print it, and let's add this here. And to avoid this, Ryan just type continue. What that does is if a number is even, it will not execute this other part here. It will just repeat the while loop, but it will repeat it with the same number. Like if we have 2, it will repeat it by num is equal to 2, and we'll get here another infinity loop. So to avoid it, we're just going to increase the num here before the continue, and after that we're just going to print num. Like, you know, here if num is an even number, the loop should have been already finished here. So just the odd numbers will be printed here, and then of course we're gonna increase the count. And of course if we have an odd number, we need also to increase it. So save the file. Oops, here we have to change this to odd numbers. And so let's print this out. Alright, so we get the odd numbers. There are 5 odd numbers. Now there's the break statement. Now to use it, we're just going to give an example here. If num greater than a, maybe just break. And here let's just increase. Always remember to increase your number, because if you don't increase it, you will get infinity loop. Right, let's save this, go to our terminal. Oh, oops, sorry. We have to press it to the console. Fine. Right, see what we get. Now, while we get to the first one, because we increased the number before printing it to the console. And also 9, why it was printed to the console, because in the case of 8, when num was 8, then it was less than or equal limit, so the while loop will run. The if statement here, now num is not greater than 8, so it will not break out of the while loop. And then it increased it by 1. We increased the num by 1, so it was 9, and then we printed it to the console, and then we printed 9. So the trick here is that we should press the print statements before the increment. Alright, so here we are. 1, 2, that is the logic part. Now another time we have this nested while loops. So I don't know, let's do an example for this. Let's do num2, and let's name this num1. Let's do it equal to 1 also, or you know what, let's do it equal to 5. And then let's do while num2 is less or equal to limits also, and then print let's use a format string print. It's the same example from the last video. You have to do coordinates here. Let's do here. Alright, sorry, we have to change this to num1 also. Let's do num1, then two curly braces, and num2. Alright, so we don't have to forget to add, to increase num2, increase it. Remember this plus equals operator, say for 1, and then increase here num1. Right, so why I increased 1 here, the num1, because when this finishes, when like it is greater than limit, then it will go back to the outer loop, like we said at the last video, and this is part of the outer loop. And another thing to notice it is we have always to set num2 to 1 before starting the while loop, or it's not gonna work, because num2 will be already 10, so it will not run this while loop here. Save this, right? Alright, right, and see what we get. We have 1. It is the first iteration. Alright, so the first iteration of the outer loop was num1 equal to 1. Sorry. So that was because I made num2 is equal to. Let's run this. Alright, that is pretty good. Alright, so the first iteration, num2 was 5, so we have to set this to 5. And then at the first iteration also here, num2 was 5. So what we get here is num1 here, we change it by its value is 1. Then num2 it's 5. So here it is 1, 5. And then at the second iteration of the inner loop, because we still in the inner loop, it still gives us true at this condition. So we increase it num2, so it is 6, and num1 is still 1. Here it is. So at the end of this while loop here, when it exits, the num2 is equal to 10. So here it is, and then we increase num2 because here we exited from the while loop, because this condition doesn't evaluate to true, because num2 is greater than limit. It will be 11 in this case, because we have already printed 10, then we increased it by 1, so it is 11. 11 is not less or equal to 10, so it will exit from this while loop, and we'll return to the outer loop. So we increase num1, so it will be 2, and we repeat the loop, the outer loop. So we set another time num2 to 5, so that the while loop can run, and we print 2, 5, and so on until the num1 here. Let's simulate the last iteration. So num1 is equal to 10. 10 is less than or equal limit, so it's evaluated to true, so we will run. So num2 is 10, and then num1 is 10, and num2 is 5, so here it is. At the second iteration it will be 6 here, so 10, 6. But at the end of this, when num2 is 11 another time, it will exit from the inner loop and it will return to the outer loop. So num1 will increase it by 1, it will be 11 too. So in this case, neither the outer or the inner loop will run. To notice one thing, if the outer loop didn't run, so automatically the inner loop won't run because it is part of the outer loop. Alright guys, I hope that makes sense. So guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications bell. And see you in the next video.